Trevor Lawrence is going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Lock it in.
Yeah.
Now the Jets, Badaki, are we agreed? Just I want to make sure we're on the same page. Is Zach Wilson is locked in here?
Yeah, Zach Wilson is locked in here, and I think this is not the big question during this draft,
Right.
and for the Jets to be taking Zach Wilson. I think the bigger question here is what's going to happen with Sam Darnold. You know,
Yeah.
if Zach Wilson goes to the Jets, is Sam Darnold getting traded? Is Sam Darnold just going to lose? Are they going to compete? What are they really going to do with Sam Darnold? And I think, in my perspective, that's the biggest question mark for the Jets organization.
Right. It's Sharpie locked in with Zach Wilson, but what about Darnold is a question. I get it. Okay, so the draft realistically starts at number 3. I am taking the odd number picks. So I am on the clock, and it's the 49ers. Obviously, the 49ers made some crazy trades with the Dolphins, and then the Dolphins made a trade with the Eagles. You know all that by now. We're going to talk about it. Mm-hmm. But for me, the pick is in. The 49ers select Trey Lance, quarterback out of South Dakota State. And this is controversial because I think the consensus would say Justin Fields. And I don't think that either would be wrong. But let me just pitch Trey Lance to you quickly, 49er fans, okay? This trade to go up to 3 has Trey Lance written all over it, in my opinion. What do we keep hearing? The 49ers wanted, quote unquote, their guy. Their guy could often mean not what everyone else sees. Taking Trey Lance at 3 might be too high for you, but if it is truly indeed the scouting department's guy, if it's Shanahan's guy, it's John Lynch's guy, then it doesn't matter. They just needed to trade up to a spot where they knew that they could get him. I think he has the highest ceiling with the lowest floor. So there is a little bit of a risk there. But that could be said with every single draft pick that you make. There's always going to be risk. For me, the raw talent is there. You can't overlook it. Big arm, big body, elite running ability for a quarterback as well. And that is the way that the league is going. He didn't face the hardest competition. I understand that, but his tape still speaks for itself. The throws that he made, the athleticism that you see on tape, that still happened. It just wasn't against the competition that we wanted to see it against. So I've got Trey Lance going to the 49ers at 3. Badaki, you're on the clock at the 4th pick with the Falcons.
4th pick with the Falcons, and Trey Lance, wow. I mean, as the Falcons, we were expecting something else. But what's funny about that is that the Falcons were always going to trade, and the Falcons were always going to trade down.
Okay.
And the team that's actually trading up are the Patriots. So the Patriots on the clock.
Wow. What in the world just happened? I did not expect that to happen. Okay.
Yeah.
The Patriots are trading up. Okay.
Yes. So Patriots are on the clock currently. The Patriots are taking Justin Fields. And look, and I think we can both agree that the next pick 3 and 4 could have been either way. It could have been Justin Fields, Trey Lance. Okay. But obviously the Patriots, we all saw Bill Belichick at Justin Fields Mac Jones pro day and what he was doing there. Justin Fields just had his pro day, and I don't think there's any question that Justin Fields will fit great with the New England Patriots. Why? And I think the biggest piece and the reason why he fits great with the Patriots is because Cam Newton. Justin Fields went to Cam Newton quarterback camp when he was in high school. Cam Newton was saying Justin Fields was the best quarterback coming out of high school. Okay. And I personally believe that Bill Belichick knows he's going to be taking Justin Fields, whether he falls or whether he trades up. Obviously, this is all hypothetical, but whether he trades up to the 4th spot, I think Bill Belichick is doing all these things to get Justin Fields into place. Justin Fields and to come so that they can come up and say, you know what, Justin Fields is our guy. He sits 1 year under Cam Newton, and that's something really incredible for them. So I love that.
And
trade.
Obviously, this could happen or it could not, but that's the point of a mock draft. I don't think it's out of the reality of conversations that this could be a possibility. But what we have to keep in mind is that the Patriots would probably need to give up more than what the Niners gave up.
Yeah.
But wow, you threw me off, and now I need to adjust. And this is how the draft is going to be, guys. The draft is going to be crazy. There's going to be trades that you did not expect, that you don't understand. So the Bengals are on the clock with the 5th pick, and I had a team trading up. I had a deal in place with another team, but you screwed me over, Atlanta. Thanks for trading away to the Patriots. So I'm going to stay put as the Bengals, and the pick is in.
Okay.
Offensive tackle out of Oregon, Penei Sewell. This is really, really, really simple.
Yeah.
Don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. Sewell could be the best prospect in this draft. The Bengals have weapons. They have Boyd, they have T. Higgins, they have Joe Mixon. What they don't have is protection for their future star quarterback. So you lock up one of the best tackles generationally that we've scouted in the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And PFF would also agree to that. And you give Joe Burrow the chance to not end his career early. So Penei Sewell goes off the board at the 5th overall pick to the Bengals. The Dolphins are on the clock, Badaki.
Dolphins on the clock, and I think we both know who's going to go here, because we both know that the Dolphins need a weapon at offense, and the pick is in.
The pick is in?
Pick is in. And the Miami Dolphins with the 6 picks takes Jamar Chase out of LSU. Wide receiver. I think there's no doubt about it that they take him, in my personal opinion. Look, we both know that they could have gone offensive tackle here with like Penei Sewell, obviously, or Rashad Slater or someone like that. But I do believe that they need to give Tua that weapon. Obviously, they have Devonta Parker, Mike Gesicki. I think Preston Williams is still there. And I don't know how long he has on this contract. And obviously, Will Fuller is there as well now. I think Will Fuller is only a 1-year deal. They're gonna get Jamar Chase to come in, contribute. Probably not as big as we all expected in the first year to sit under Will Fuller, because Will Fuller, I think we can both agree, he's a great wide receiver.
I don't think so. I love the pick, but I think they're gonna make sure Chase comes out of the gates with every opportunity to succeed.
And I think so as well. But I think there's also a scenario that's why they signed Will Fuller. Right. They're going to put them together and be like, all right, we think Jamar, we think you are like a Will Fuller, and we want you to be even better than him. Look what he does.
Yeah. Learn
from him, because you already have what he's doing at his highest ceiling, and that is your floor. Now go do your thing. That's what I believe.
Okay. All right. I see the pick. I like it. All right. So Tua gets a weapon to hopefully build his future around. I think the Dolphins are high key the biggest winner in the draft so far, just with the moves they've made pre-draft.
Absolutely.
They probably knew that they either wanted Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson. When they knew they couldn't get them, they said, we want Chase. We know we can trade back and still get Chase. So why don't we pick up an extra first-round pick for next year? So they killed it. All right. The Detroit Lions are on the clock, okay, with the 7th overall pick. And there is another trade that has just gone through. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. The Panthers are extremely upset about this trade because the Broncos said, hey, Detroit, we know the Panthers need a quarterback, but we need a quarterback too. Let's work out a trade. So they sent through some picks. Now Detroit has the 9th pick. The Broncos have the 7th pick. Okay. And with the 7th overall pick, the Broncos select Mac Jones,
Mackie,
quarterback out of Alabama, is now heading to Denver, the city full of quarterbacks with historic great wins. This is a realistic scenario for me because I see either the Broncos or the Panthers as the biggest trade up targets for a quarterback in the draft. I can promise you, if the 8th pick rolls around and Mac Jones is on the clock, he's going to go to the Panthers. So what the Broncos are saying is let's get ahead of the curve here. Even if we give up a pick or two to move up 2 spots, if Mac Jones is the guy for us and he's better than Drew Lock and he reaches the potential that some people think he could, then it's more than worth it to take your quarterback of the future. They 100% know Drew Lock is not the guy. Why not take a swing on a guy who could be, quote unquote, the next Tom Brady? I know he's not Tom Brady, but he has a potential to be a great quarterback in this league. I think that it could make a lot of sense. Now, Badaki, you're on the clock with the Panthers, but go ahead.
Before we continue, I just want to say 5 quarterbacks is off the board here in the first 7 picks. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and Mac Jones. That's incredible. That would be a crazy draft if that actually does happen. You know what, though?
I've heard some people say that the 49ers pick is going to discourage teams from trading up anymore. The market's gone. I completely disagree. I see it the complete opposite way. We both feel that it's going to go quarterback, and maybe quarterback again in the first 4 picks, right? It could very well be 4 quarterbacks off the board. If not, it's 3 quarterbacks locked in. All the other teams who want, by the way, some people have Mac Jones as their number 1 quarterback in this draft. I know that's crazy. I don't, but NFL teams have them on their big board as a number 1 quarterback. I see it as even more of a competition. Out of these teams, the Broncos, the Lions maybe could, the Panthers, out of these teams that want to trade up, who's going to do it first?
Exactly.
Who's going to make the move to secure the guy? So I see this as a realistic possibility. If not the Broncos, another team trading up for Mac Jones.
Yeah, and I think if you need one of these quarterbacks, you have 5 quarterbacks that potentially do have talent. Mac Jones, I think he's probably at the bottom at my list. I think you could probably say the same out of all these 5 quarterbacks. Yeah. All these other teams, if you want a future in the NFL for the next couple years, you need to trade up. You need to start giving some, see what you need or what you can give to get up. But Panthers on the clock. I'm the Panthers 8th pick. And look, I actually liked Mac Jones going to the Panthers. I'll be honest with you. That was my initial pick. But obviously this is a draft, and I'm pretty sure in the real life scenarios, it was like next best available. And which is really easy for me, so the pick is in. Kyle Pitts, tight end out of Florida, goes here.
Okay.
To the Carolina Panthers. And let me tell you why. Obviously, we know Teddy B. The first 4 quarterbacks are off the board. 5 quarterbacks are off the board. You have to go with the next best available. You have to hope that maybe next year or maybe in the 2nd or 3rd rounds that you can get a quarterback if they like one, okay? If you like a quarterback in the 2nd or 3rd round. But now you have to go with talent. And I believe that, I believe that, getting rid of Curtis Samuel now and Greg Olsen was gone the year before, you have to get talent now. And that's Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is going to come in with DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, and he's going to contribute with CMC, and he's going to be a threat. This offense is going to be amazing. It's just that can Teddy B, lead them to victories? That's essentially what it is. So
I think they know the answer is no, but at this point you're right. Have to go talent. Who's the most talented guy?
Yeah.
Top 10, you have to go talent, not positional needs. Typically, that's how we see it at least.
Yeah.
Okay, I like the pick. So the Broncos were originally in the 9th spot. They traded it away to the Detroit Lions, and the Detroit Lions still get the guy they were going to draft at number 7. The Lions select Micah Parsons, linebacker out of Penn State. This one just makes sense for a lot of reasons. I don't think we need to go over it too much, but that defense is terrible. They need an X-factor player. I think he's potentially one of the best run-stopping defensive players in the draft. And if you remember last year, anytime the Detroit Lions was against your running back, you were cheering. You were thinking, this is the week my running back's going to go off and going to have his best game of the year.
But the 10th overall pick, the Cowboys are on the clock, and the pick is in. And look, Patrick Surtain the second, and I think that is probably the best. Once again, talent-wise, I believe he's a cornerback out of Alabama. They need to fix their secondary in the Cowboys. And obviously, they weren't doing too well. Obviously, Dak Prescott was hurt, and the secondary kind of just crumbled last year. You need to come in, you get your defense set, because in offensive, you're set.
It's the same story with the Lions. What were you thinking every time you saw the Cowboys defense against one of your fantasy players last year?
Yeah, you're buzzing.
You're seeing money signs. Yeah. Makes sense. I like the pick.
Yeah.
I think just so everyone's aware, Caleb Farley was probably going to be the first cornerback taken. But with the back surgeries he's had 2 back surgeries now. That's going to drop his stock a lot. So I like the pick. I think it makes sense. All right. Thank God I have the 11th overall pick with your New York Football Giants, because I know how this pick would have gone if you were picking for the Giants. I know what would have happened, but I'm not going to do what you want me to. And in fact, I'm probably not going to do what most Giants fans want me to do, and that's okay. The pick is in. With the 11th pick, the Giants select Rashawn Slater. I know. It's not sexy, people.
It's not, but tell me why, and then I'll tell you why I like it first. Continue.
Very simply, I would have gone a weapon here, a Waddle, a Smith, maybe, but you addressed that with Kenny Golladay. What you didn't address that well this offseason was your offensive line. In fact, you let go of one of your better offensive linemen. I don't know how you expect Danny Dimes to take the next step when you can't protect him, especially in a division that has Chase Young. The Washington defense has one of the best lines. Philadelphia's line is still pretty good, and Dallas has some guys on their defensive line that are being paid big money for good reason. You have to be able to protect Danny Dimes to even have a chance for Kenny Golladay to succeed, for Saquon Barkley to succeed. It's just not a sexy pick, but one that needs to be done.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I actually like the pick. When I was doing this draft and I was kind of thinking about, I had a feeling that you weren't going to take a weapon, because I know we spoke about that all along. And he's actually, now after all the pro days pretty much has come to an end, and looking at it, there's a lot of people that have stepped up, said Rashad Slater should go to the Giants. He's the next best offensive lineman in the draft.
Interesting.
Why not take him? You signed Kenny G. You got John Ross. You got Kyle Rudolph. There's no point of kind of going. You're hoping to get another talent, because the talent in wide receiver depth is pretty great. Okay, it's good. So hopefully, if it comes around, they can still get a tremendous talent. But the 12th pick,
agreed,
with the Philadelphia Eagles, the pick is in. And the Philadelphia Eagles select Devonta Smith. And I think this is pretty...
That's going to be a crowd pleaser.
Yeah. And I think you really have to think about it, though, because they got rid of both of their weapons, in Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson. And Zach Ertz is quote-unquote, trying to find a place to play again. The Eagles don't really want to continue with him. So I think they have to go on the weapon side here. And Devonta Smith is a great asset to that team. Obviously, Jalen Reagor is the deep down threat. Devonta Smith can be that slot guy, or the guy that lines up on the outside as well. He can really line up anywhere. And it's plain and simple. You have to go with Devonta Smith here.
I love it. I mean, his route running is next level. I think he would automatically step into this offense and be the number one guy, right? Reagor would probably fit the wide receiver 2 role at that point. Both would be relevant, but I think Smith would succeed. It gives him a place to have opportunity, and it also gives Jalen Hurts a weapon to quote unquote play around with a little bit. All right, at the 13th pick, the Los Angeles Chargers are on the clock, and they select wide receiver Jalen Waddle out of Alabama.
Wow.
He goes to the Bolts. This one is quite simple. I know you've got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, but you don't have a Jalen Waddle. Add your strengths again. Why did the Washington football team draft Chase Young? Because he was the most talented player on the board. Why are the Chargers drafting Jalen Waddle? Because he's the most talented player still on the board. Add to your strengths. Imagine Keenan Allen on the outside. You put Jalen Waddle in the slot. You can move him around, misdirections. Maybe they have Austin Eckler in the slot a little bit this year. I think it adds. I might go tackle here, but I think the addition of Lindsley helps that offensive line. They will need to find more tackles, but I feel like you're giving even more weapons for your offense to succeed. This offense could be a top 10 offense, maybe higher, with the weapons they would have going into next year.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I love the pick. Jalen Waddle there. Wow. Just imagine that slot, finally a slot receiver or a speedster for someone, because you have those two fast and big guys in Mike Williams and Keenan Allen on the outside. Get a smaller guy.
Yeah.
I like that pick. The Minnesota Vikings with the 14th pick, and the pick is in. And, here, I actually had Rashad Slater going to the Minnesota Vikings originally, but I think you have to go with another offensive lineman. And, with all my research and everything that I kind of put in, the next best offensive lineman is Aljaya Vera Tucker. Okay? And let me tell you why the Vikings need this guy. Okay?
Okay.
It may be boring, but obviously they have weapons, and the Vikings have the 12th most pressured.
Okay.
So the offensive line does need some help. And I think, they haven't invested in the offensive line. They actually let go of a couple guys, but I think that he needs to step in here and help, Kirk Cousins and Dalvin Cook, especially in the run game. Dalvin Cook, there was times that Dalvin struggled. And the only reason why he got saved was because he got a touchdown, or it's lucky that Dalvin is a pass catching back, because if he didn't catch those passes, he would have been.
He's just a beast. But it's surprising. I'm hearing this name a lot, Vera Tucker. He is definitely rising up boards.
Yeah.
I may have taken Christian Darrisaw there out of Virginia Tech, alternatively, but at the same time, again, it's a draft. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
So I this is a realistic possibility for sure. Okay. The Atlanta Falcons are on the clock. They swapped picks with the Patriots. I had a great plan for the Patriots here, and I have a great plan again for the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons have an amazing offense. We don't need to draft any offensive position except for maybe the line. But what their biggest weakness is, their defense. So the pick is in. With the 15th pick, the Falcons select J.C. Horn, the second cornerback off the board out of South Carolina. This is a big physical cornerback, which is something that the Falcons need. They need a Jalen Ramsey type cornerback to have these teams stop disrespecting them so much through the pass game. It's a position of need for them. I really feel like it's the no-brainer pick to pick a defensive player and a guy as talented as Horn here.
Yeah.
And the last pick, because we're only doing the top 16, is the Arizona Cardinals. They are on the clock, Badaki.
Yeah, they are on the clock. And Arizona, the pick is in. I almost forgot to say the pick is in.
You gotta let the people know. Whoever's doing the sound effects. It's not me, but not jokes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sound effect guy, do something about it.
Shout out to our producers over there.
Yeah, honestly, we appreciate you. I had J.C. Horn going to the Arizona Cardinals, but obviously you're prepared for this. We're both prepared for this, and I think the next best available guy is. Oh, I lost his name here. Christian. There you go, Christian Barmore, and obviously they need a defensive end, and he's going to be playing in the middle, okay. And obviously they had J.J. Watt come in and be a great part to this. They also signed Malcolm Butler. So I kind of, because obviously Pat Peterson left, but I believe they need to get some more on the line, more line people, defensive line people. So what's going to happen is that they're going to get Christian Barmore. He's going to come in and make a difference already. I think we both can agree that the Arizona Cardinals are in the right trajectory of going to the playoffs. They have weapons. Yeah, I believe in the second round they do get a weapon. They couldn't even get a weapon in the 16 pick. Maybe they don't even go defense, but I think they're going in the right path here with their team.
Agreed. I like the pick. I think you kind of now create your defensive line as a potential strength, which some people might say go cornerback, but if your defensive line is better, I hate to keep referencing the Washington football team, but the better your defensive line, you don't need as good of a cornerback group, right? If you can get to the quarterback, then your cornerbacks don't have to be as good at coverage. I like it. He'll play on the inside. J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones will also be on that line, so it's a nice line starting to form. That is the end. We did half of the first round of our mock draft 4.0 with trades. Let us know if you guys enjoyed this. Obviously, we would like to do this again if it's something that you like. We enjoyed doing it. I had no idea that the Patriots would be looking at Justin Fields at all. That completely caught me off guard. I was not ready for that.
It was some good reasons, though. I thought that was great.
Yeah. No, there's some good reasons. Yeah. I think it's the least likely team to be able to trade up because of their position, but they would just have to give up a lot. So it could happen.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe part of that trade is Stephon Gilmore. Right? Maybe that's part of the trade to move up with a couple first rounders. Okay, let's quickly recap the draft. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson go off the board first. Trey Lance is going to San Francisco. Justin Fields, in a crazy trade from Atlanta, goes to New England. Penei Sewell's the first tackle off the board to the Bengals at 5. At 6, we have Jamar Chase going to the Dolphins. 7, we have the Broncos leapfrogging the Panthers to snag Mac Jones. At 8, we have Kyle Pitts. It's the talent. You take the talent for the Panthers.
Yeah.
At 9, the Detroit Lions still get their guy and get extra draft compensation, Micah Parsons. At 10, Patrick Surtain. 11, Rashawn Slater. 12 and 13, we have 2 Alabama weapons go off the board back-to-back. Smith to the Eagles, Waddle to the Chargers. And then at 14, we have Vera Tucker, the tackle, going to the Vikings, rather. And then to wrap off the first half of the draft, J.C. Horn goes to the Falcons to help their secondary, and Christian Barmore lands in Arizona. Are there any picks, Badaki, that specifically stand out to you as great picks or picks that probably weren't done properly?
Look, I have 2. One that's great, I truly believe, is Jalen Waddle to the Chargers. I convinced myself Keenan Allen on the outside, Mike Williams on the other side, and actually having a slot receiver, that's fantastic. Now looking at it with the Cardinals pick, I think they can go corner. I mean, obviously, I know that he's falling, but Caleb Farley.
Yeah,
I still don't believe he. Yes, I understand he has the injuries and stuff like that, but I still do believe he does have potential to go to the Cardinals because he is a younger talent. They got Malcolm Butler there, and obviously he's older, and they all said he was a talent after the Super Bowl catch, and he got all this big deal, but he hasn't really progressed after that. So
yeah.
If they really want, they can go Caleb Farley, which I do think it's interesting.
Yeah, could happen. You know, and honestly, when you get from pick 16 onwards, it's really hard for some of these teams to determine where they're going to go. Do they go draft positional needs or do they go talent based, only based off talent? I mean, the Cardinals could have gone so many different ways there. Barmore, they could have gone tackle with Darisaw. I feel like they could have added Rashawn Bateman, Kwity Paye, Jason Owe out of Penn State. Maybe even Ojulari. Might have been too early for him, the edge out of Georgia, but Farley could have made sense. There are so many picks that we wouldn't have been surprised by, and I think the same can go from 17 onwards.
Yeah.
Will it be positional based or talent for these teams? So, yeah, I agree. All right, the picks that stand out to me, I can't ignore Justin Fields to the Patriots. I think the Patriots would have to give up so much, and it's not a Bill Belichick thing to have done, but Bill Belichick's never been in a position where he hasn't had Tom Brady.
Exactly.
So it very well could happen. He could say, you know what? Let's stop this rebuild process. Let's get the guy of our future right now, and let's move forward. So that very well could happen. Another pick that I absolutely love is Patrick Surtain to the Cowboys. I think he is the best answer for them if Kyle Pitts is off the board, right?
Yeah.
I think they do need help in defense. I think Surtain is the number one cornerback in the draft. And then the last thing I'll say is let's quickly talk about some of the players who could be all over the board as far as their capital is either top 5 or top 20. It's hard to say. Kyle Pitts is one of those guys.
Yes, that was the first guy I thought of. Mm-hmm.
He could go anywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if he went at 4 to the Falcons. I wouldn't be surprised if he went as low as around 11 to 14. This is a guy that could go really high or really low.
And I believe that he goes I believe he goes under 8. I think his absolute max, in my opinion, is 8. And obviously I had him going at 7, but
right.
I had him going at 7, didn't I?
You have him going at 8 to the Panthers.
Yeah, 8 to the Panthers. Sorry,
you're saying that is the he won't go later than that.
I don't think he goes earlier than that, in my opinion.
Wow.
And the only reason why is because every team in the top 6 besides the Bengals and the Dolphins need a quarterback. Besides also Atlanta, sorry. But Atlanta's also thinking about the future. Does that make sense?
I'm just gonna go ahead and bill you. No, I get it. I mean, I personally feel like he could go really high, but
it doesn't make sense that if he goes, for example, it doesn't make sense if he goes to the Falcons, in my opinion, because
it really does. It really does make sense.
I don't like it because if he goes to the Falcons, and then Matt Ryan, let's say Matt Ryan has a terrible year, then the Falcons organization saying, man, we should have gotten a quarterback, or we know that he's going to be gone the year after. So now you don't have your future unless you know that there's good talent coming out in the next 2 years. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think teams that could trade down that make the most sense to me, Falcons are one of them. Bengals and Cowboys are the other teams. I think teams that could trade up, Lions, Panthers, Denver, Patriots, Washington, or Bears could all trade up if they're trying to get their quarterback of the future. Mm-hmm. I absolutely think Kyle Pitts makes sense at Atlanta. I don't know that it happens, but you still add strength to your strengths. You have Julio Jones, you have Calvin Ridley. I mean, I love Hayden Hurst, but he's not Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
I still think Matt Ryan is a top 10 quarterback.
I agree.
Top 10, top 12 quarterback in the league for the next 5 years. I still think he can be that guy.
So you think he's going to get an extension?
Wherever he goes, I think he still has that ability.
Okay.
So for me, it doesn't make sense, especially because of how they restructured Matt Ryan's contract. It is so much harder to get rid of him. I think they like him. I don't think they're going to move on from him. Another name that is probably in the similar position is Devonta Smith. Right? Where does he land? Because he could go in the top 6 picks, but he also could go and he could slip all the way to, I don't know, under pick 16 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like the least enthusiastic response.
No, sorry. No, I do agree. Like, I don't know what else to say. He could go anywhere. I think he can, If I really want to give you something to say, Jamar Chase doesn't go to the Dolphins and it's Devonta Smith. Why? Because they signed Will Fuller and they have Devonta Parker. It doesn't make sense for Jamar Chase to go to Miami, but it does make sense for Jamar Chase to go to Miami because Will Fuller only signed a 1-year contract and he's injury prone. So,
yeah. No, I think there's arguments for both ways. To wrap up the show, let's talk about Mac Jones.
Yeah.
He is also one of the most talked about players when it comes to just everyone being unaware of where he will go. Because there are a bunch of teams who have him so high. I've heard people saying Mac Jones is going to go to San Francisco. He's going to go to the 49ers. Mm-hmm. I don't think that should happen, but it's not unrealistic that he could be the third quarterback, the third player off the board. Where do you see best fits, and do you think how do you feel about this scenario overall?
Let me tell you what. I personally think Mac Jones is going to San Francisco. Why? Because San Francisco knew that they needed a quarterback, and they knew these 5 quarterbacks weren't going to fall to their position. Okay.
You actually think Mac Jones is going to San Francisco? 100%? This isn't...
No, it's not 100%. It's right now, for me, it's 70-40. That's how I feel.
Well, there's 110% chance then if it's 70-40.
70-30. Sorry, it's 70-30. It's a 70-30
I say
chance.
110%. I'm 110 every day of my life. Okay. So I feel like it's more, in my opinion, it's 40% Trey, 40% Justin Fields, and then 20%.
Okay, let me ask you this. Why would they move? They put themselves in the worst possible position let me rephrase that. They put themselves in the worst possible position because they put themselves, now they have to choose a first player. They have all three lined up for them. Does that make sense? So would you rather if you had to pick?
Whoever it's going to be, they don't care because what's been reported, they wanted their guy. Who's their guy? So whoever it is at 3, it's their guy. So it doesn't matter how far they moved up. They knew they wanted that guy. So
I think it's Mac Jones. Because they know that somebody else likes Mac Jones.
And 49er fans are going to hate to hear that, but it could be Mac Jones. It really could. And I'm so sorry because this is all we're going to hear on draft day if it is Mac Jones.
Bro,
no one's going to be happy about it. But I understand it could be any of these guys. They're all realistic possibilities.
It doesn't make sense for them to trade up. I think they know that other teams like Mac Jones. That's why they trade up.
And that could be true.
Because they knew that his pro day was coming. They knew that they liked. Maybe they had a separate workout with him. I'm not sure. I will have to look into that.
They are trying to organize more workouts for Fields and Lance.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard of them wanting to do more workouts for Jones, but that could mean multiple things. That could mean they're already sold on Jones, or it could mean they don't really consider him an option. Let's find out if it's a Lance or Fields.
Another thing is that I think they also like the game manager aspect with Mac Jones. They love that.
But
they love that in Jimmy G.
I'm gonna throw a wrench into that plan. You ready? Why was RG3 so good in his rookie year? Shanahan. Shanahan was the reason why he was so good in his rookie year. I don't think Shanahan's been in a place where he's necessarily like they did trade for Jimmy G, but maybe he's in a position where he's like, man, imagine if I could have a guy like Lance. Imagine if in this offense I could have a guy like Justin Fields.
Right.
I think and there's arguments both ways, and it's gonna be really fun to see what happens. But
yeah,
49er fans are 100% sold that it's not Mac Jones, but everyone else is thinking it's a possibility.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. I truly believe it's a possibility. Who knows? I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the best of fantasy football. We got some more videos as well if you're feeling like it. And lastly, don't forget that you can support us and unlock exclusive content by signing up to our Patreon, patreon.com/fantasylandfam.